No more gay.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is my first one after being back from being sick for a while, so thank you guys for sticking it out. I have a lot of catching up to do. I can't wait to get all of the crazy ideas that have been brewing around in my head out to you guys over the next few days. We're going to start here with this one. This one's called Pins and Needles, and the idea is we're going back to the vault, a deck that I built during Wilds of Eldraine called Hot Tub Time Machine that we then sort of upgraded when Wakeen came out and made a new version. Well, now we have an all-new version that utilizes some new cards from Duskmourn, and it's kind of crazier than it's ever been. It's sort of mono red, but it's sort of 3 colors, and it's not anywhere close to the kind of mono red you're seeing on the ladder right now, thank God, because I think we've all seen enough of that, and this is a bit of a breath of fresh air, something that we can do that's somewhat mono red that feels very, very different from anything else that's out there. And honestly, the potential of this deck is kind of insane. It's burn, but it's not burn. It's damage triggers that get amplified. It's just a whole bunch of insanity, and I can't wait to show it to you. Before we do, make sure you like the video if you haven't already. I need all of you guys' help getting the algorithm back on my side after being out sick for a while. It kind of hates me. It doesn't want to show my videos to anybody because, you know, I went a couple days without posting anything. So we're going to get back on the grind. We're going to get a video out every day to you guys. And if you could hit that like button, help me massage the algorithm back into being in love with me again, I would super appreciate that. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. Tons of crazy content on the way. You guys aren't ready for the crazy deck techs that I have coming. Not only do I have some left over from early access that I really want to get to, but I've had a week of being sick where I've thought up tons of crazy ideas and I am ready to go, baby. So let's make it happen. Also, if you want to see those ideas early and not wait for the deck techs, I stream Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/quarantined_Capricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. I'm probably going to do a bunch of bonus streams over the weekend so that we can make up for this week's lack of content. Yes, grammar, words, English. Yeah, so we're going to do that. This video has been brought to you by Wonders of the First. Am I really back from being sick? This video has been brought to you by Wonders of the First. I'll tell you about that later. Let's break down the deck. Alright, so the idea behind this deck is very simple. I'm going back to an archetype I developed a while ago now. That deck was called Hot Tub Time Machine, and I believe I first made that deck when Wilds of Eldraine was new. And the idea is we're using as many different things as possible that can hit our opponent for small increments of damage without spending any mana. And as we start to stack those up, we can then take greater advantage of those direct damage pings by increasing the amount of damage dealt with things like Mechanized Warfare and some other key cards in the deck. We're going to start with the new cards, and then we'll go talk about the entire deck starting at the bottom of the curve. So first of all, we're using Razorkin Needlehead, 2 red mana for a 2/2 human assassin. It has first strike during your turn, so it might be able to swing in for some extra damage in the first few turns while you're curving out. But most importantly, whenever an opponent draws a card, Razorkin Needlehead deals 1 damage to them. This is amazing against any deck, but it's particularly good against control decks that are trying to draw a bunch of cards and have a bunch of ways within the deck to keep drawing cards. You can, you know, punish that even more by having a Needlehead on the battlefield, or maybe even 2 if you're lucky. And we're amping up the damage that the Needlehead can do with, like I said before, Mechanized Warfare. 3 mana for an enchantment. If a red or artifact source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +1. So the idea is once we have the Needlehead out and the Mechanized Warfare, every time they draw a card, now they're going to be taking 2 damage. It's like a build your own ℎ𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐿, except it's not legendary. So we can get multiple of these out and trigger all of them. And what's crazy too is Mechanized Warfare is going to increase all of the damage dealt by red or artifact sources. So we start to see how if we can start with the Needlehead and just add even more ways to do extra incremental damage, it can get really out of hand really quick. One of the other cards we're utilizing to do this is Arabella Abandoned Doll, which is one of the other new cards. This is a 1/3 legendary artifact creature toy for 2 mana in the colors of Boros. And whenever it attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. Now, most of the cards in this deck are creatures with power 2 or less that also happen to have a way of pinging our opponent for extra damage without spending any mana. So Arabella is kind of perfect here because as we start to just drop more and more creatures on the board, she can swing in for more and more damage, trigger that damage ability without spending any extra mana, and then that damage ability can get amplified by Mechanized Warfare and a couple of the other cards in the deck that function in a similar fashion to Mechanized Warfare. So you can start to see Razorkin Needlehead, Arabella, cards like that alongside stuff like Mechanized Warfare. You can really start to see the build start to flesh out now. We've also got 3 copies of Taii Wakeen Perfect Shot. Now, I built a deck around Taii Wakeen when Thunder Junction first dropped that I thought was amazing, and you can utilize this in a couple different ways. First of all, when you deal exact damage, non-combat damage to a creature that's exactly equal to their toughness, you get to draw a card. So all of your removal now becomes card draw as well, so that you can dig for the things you want to, keep setting up your combos or your synergy pieces. But also, with Taii Wakeen, you can pay X and tap Taii Wakeen, and if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a permanent or player this turn, it deals that much damage plus X instead. So the best way to use Taii Wakeen is in a deck where we're doing exactly what we're doing with this deck, where if you have multiple ways of dealing damage to the opponent from different sources in the same turn without spending any mana, what that allows you to do is then put all of your mana into Taii Wakeen's ability, and then every single one of those sources is going to get buffed up by X amount of damage. So say you have 5 mana available and you dump 5 into this, right? If your Needlehead goes off, it's going to hit for 6, or possibly 7 if you have Mechanized Warfare, right? If your Arabella goes off, it's going to hit for an extra 5 on top of however much you're already dealing with the trigger itself. And it just really starts to compound. If you can have a bunch of copies of stuff like this, and we've got more things in the deck that have similar functions, everything starts to stack up, and then just one activation from a Taii Wakeen means everything's just popping off for a whole bunch of damage. Let's start at the bottom of the curve and talk about some of the other cards that are able to do that. We've got 4 Cacophony Scamp, because we want to be efficient, get out a 1-mana creature that later on can be sacked when the moment is right to hit for a bunch of damage. Even if we're only dealing 1 damage with this, that damage is going to start to get multiplied by things like Mechanized Warfare and Taii Wakeen, so it can actually matter, and this is just a good opportunity to get a 1-drop in the deck and help us be as efficient with each of our turns as possible. We also have 4 Tectonic Hazards, which will deal 1 damage to each opponent and each creature they control. That gets way better when you have Mechanized Warfare, because now it's doing 2 damage to your opponent and 2 damage to each creature they control. And it gets even crazier with Taii Wakeen, because it's basically dealing 1 plus X damage to everything including their face, which is amazing, and it doesn't hit your creatures. Since this deck is trying to go wide with its own creatures that have damage triggers, the fact that your own creatures dodge this, but you can turn it into a pseudo Wrath of God with a Taii Wakeen down, kind of makes it insane. Moving on to the 2-drop slots, we've got some more of our very, very important creatures that have those damage pinging potentials, synergies that we talked about earlier. So first up, we've got Scalding Viper, and this is the one reason that we're kind of tilting into blue a little bit. We have a little bit of blue in the mana base in the way of dual lands, just so that maybe we can use the Steam Clean for even more value, which is a sorcery for 1 blue and 1, return a non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Sometimes that can matter so that we can like swing in with an Arabella and not have it die in combat, things like that. But the main reason we're playing the Scalding Viper is it comes down as a 2/1 for 2 mana, and then whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value 3 or less, the Viper deals 1 damage to that player, which means it's going to deal 2 damage if you have a Mechanized Warfare out for every spell they cast that costs 3 or less. which just gets insane. And it deals X damage +1 if you've tapped your Taii Wakeen. So if they're about to pop off in a Spellslinger deck and play a bunch of cheap spells on the same turn, tap out for Taii Wakeen, and now they're just taking damage after damage after damage. It gets insane. So Scalding Viper's nuts. And having Scalding Viper alongside the Needlehead and the Arabella, you start to see how everything just stacks up. You want to get to a point where you have multiple permanents that can all hit for different amounts of pinging damage without spending mana, just so we have access to that potential with Taii Wakeen. In that fashion, we also have Generous Plunderer, which does the same thing. Comes down as a 2-mana 2/2 menace creature. At the beginning of our upkeep, we may create a treasure token. When we do, target opponent creates a tapped treasure token, and then when we attack, we deal damage to defending player equal to the number of artifacts they control. So, just one activation from this not only gives us a treasure token that we can ramp with and get all of our damage dealing potential on the board quicker, but it also gives them a tapped treasure token which they can't use right away to use instant speed removal, so it doesn't help give them something to stop our damage potential immediately in the moment, which is really, really nice since that treasure is tapped. But it does give them, even if we just do give them the one treasure, it gives us the potential to swing in, get a damage trigger, and then we can start to exponentially increase that damage trigger with Mechanized Warfare, with Taii Wakeen, and a couple other cards I'll get to at the top of the curve. And it can just be really crazy. And what's great about this card is it's really good just in general, but then if you happen to be up against an artifact deck, it's absolutely insane. If they happen to be playing artifacts, if they're playing Simic Cookies or something like that, which is a really popular deck on the ladder right now, this is just like almost feels like cheating, right? It's like you have a main decked sideboard card without the downside of having a dead card in your deck against non-artifact decks, because it's always going to be at least really good. It's just against those decks, it's absolutely backbreaking. So Plunder is just awesome in pretty much every way. And then we've also got Blooming Blast. We're only running 3 copies of these because it was kind of the last edition, but it is really good because we have so many different ways in the deck to ramp up damage potential with things like Mechanized Warfare and Taii Wakeen. Blooming Blast being able to deal 2 damage to any creature, and if you gift a treasure, also deal 3 damage to that creature's controller, means that both of those damages hit for way more damage and get amped up by everything. So being able to damage 2 different things, or a person and a thing, with 1 card means we can get double the potential out of all of our damage amplifiers, and that makes this card nuts. Even if we just have Mechanized Warfare in play, Blooming Blast gets to deal 3 damage to any creature, 4 damage to that creature's controller, and give them a treasure so that maybe we do extra damage with a Generous Plunderer. So that just seems good. And then if we have a Taii Wakeen down, it gets just really, really out of hand and gets really crazy. So Blooming Blast, awesome card. We're running 3. And then the last 2 cards at the top of the mana curve, we've got 1 Ojer Axonil Deepest Might, because if we have it on the battlefield, all of our damage potential now goes up to 4. Since almost everything that's a permanent in this deck that is hitting for damage is hitting for just increments of 1 damage at a time, we can automatically jump that up to 4, and then also increase it by extra amounts on top of the 4 with things like Mechanized Warfare or Taii Wakeen. Because we can choose the order that things happen. So being able to get an extra 3 damage out of Ojer Axonil for all of our damage triggers, while also being able to turn like Tectonic Hazard into sheer insanity for no real extra mana once we have one on the battlefield, is kind of nuts. And the Ojer Axonil keeps coming back over and over and over. That being said, most of the time this deck is going to win before you need to play a 4-drop and have it stick and stay there for an entire turn cycle. So we are only going to run the 1 copy. This is mainly in there so that if a game happens to drag out a little bit, if your opponent's really clever and they're using a lot of control elements and they manage to stay in the game, being able to drop in Ojer Axonil can sometimes seal the deal, especially if they don't have a way to exile it, because it just turns into the land if it dies, eventually comes back, and eventually gets them. So 1 Ojer Axonil, and in for a similar reason, we're running 1 copy of Solphim, Mayhem, Dominus. This allows for all of our sources to deal an extra damage, similar to the Mechanized Warfare, but also gives us a 5/4 creature for 4 as well, which is not nothing. Just doubles literally all the damage that all of our things are going to do. And once you start adding that on top of other ways that we're increasing damage to begin with, it can get really insane. But for the same reason we're only running one copy of Ojer, we're running just one copy of Solphim here. They're just the spice at the top, right? They're just that little extra bit of insane advantage if you start to run out of gas and the game starts to run on long against a control deck that's getting the upper hand. Sometimes these bigger plays in the mid to late game can reel it back in and get you a win when otherwise you might have been out of gas and not got a win. So I do think it's worth at least trying one copy of one of these. We went with one copy of both, and it seemed to be working pretty well. The mana base is very specific so that we make sure we have access to both red and white at all times. Pretty much everything in the deck needs to make red since it's kind of a mono red deck with just splashes. So we have 3 Restless Bivouacs as our one land that will enter tapped early in the game as we're curving out, because I think it's worth it as a way to have, you know, a man land that can swing in and get extra damage in if our board gets wiped and stuff like that. We've got 1 Thran Portal, which is sort of just like almost like a 3-way pathway. Whatever we need, whether it be red, blue, or white, we can make this be. It's the one card in the deck that can potentially come down and not be able to make red mana, depending on what we choose. But that's only going to happen if we're desperate and we really need to choose white or blue, right? So having that extra ability to just shore up the consistency of how much mana we have for each color, I think it's worth the inclusion of just one copy here. We've got 4 Inspiring Vantage, 4 Battlefield Forge, because we don't want things to come into play tapped. Similar fashion, we have Spirebluff Canal at 4, Shivan Reef at 4 for the same reasons. Even if we're losing life, we're probably killing them first, and even if we're not, we're gaining life back with Arabella a lot of the time, so we can afford to run, you know, 8 or 9 pain lands here and make it work. And then just 1 mountain, in case they have land destruction and we need to search up a basics. So that's the deck. I actually think it's really fun. I think there's probably a better version of this out there somewhere, but it's going to take a while and a lot of experimenting to figure out how to get to just the perfect version of this deck. And I think this is a really, really good version that definitely hits the ground running and gives us kind of a jumping off point to really figure out where to go next with this weird monocolor / 3-color burn deck. But I think the synergies are absolutely worth exploring. The deck is super fun, and it is way better to play something like this than the trash mono red that's making its rounds on the ladder right now. So if you're gonna build a red deck, this is probably the most fun, unique, interesting version of red you could build, and at least not have wins and losses feel bad using you know what's out there, and you know what we don't want to use. So we're exploring a different option. I think the deck's really cool. It has a ton of potential, and let's check out the games. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Wonders of the First. Wonders of the First is a brand new collectible card game similar to games like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, featuring a unique action-based resource economy that helps avoid pitfalls like mana flood or mana screw, and a battlefield containing multiple realms that unlock over time as you fight for control of the stones. The first 400 card set is called Existence and will launch to retail in the fall, but playtest team starter kits are available to order now. And they haven't forgotten about all you collectors out there. The game contains alternate borderless art variants, as well as highly sought after limited edition numbered prints, culminating in a 1-of-1 stone foil. And the best part is that the developers have a community first approach, with 8 print and play decks available on their website, as well as a version of the game available on Tabletop Simulator, all for free. For more information, be sure to check out wondersccg.com today. That's wondersccg.com. Alright. We're gonna keep this. It's not the best opening hand, but we'll try and make it work. Kobold of Kher Ridges. Welcome. Welcome to the game, my friend. You mean we get rid of your cut down and we get to ping you? That sounds like a deal. Sounds like a deal and a half. Deep Cavern Bat. Take the shock, my friend, and be sad. Be very sad. Oh, he's gonna take the Generous Plunderer. That's fine. We'll play the Needlehead. Pass the turn. Just get out all of our things that can do damage. Nowhere to run. Eventually you will run out of removal. Wait, why did he get to draw a card? Oh, that was before he drew, so he didn't take the trigger. That makes sense. That makes sense. Alright, we're going to start with a shock. And then we're going to play the Generous Plunderer. And the treasure can make blue, so we could steam clean. If we wanted to. He's running out of gas, and I like it. Thank you for the nectar, squirrel. I appreciate you. Well, we got an unholy annex. We will take the action. We're gonna steam clean the unholy annex. And then we're gonna play a Scalding Viper. And then we're gonna swing and ping for 1 with the Plunderer. Now whenever he plays something with mana value 3 or less, he'll take a damage from the Viper. Like the Duress. Nice. Someday, squirrel. Someday. When I'm caught up. I was sick all week, so now I'm like grinding deck techs so that I can have a week's worth of deck techs ready to go on the YouTube. Once I have all that out of the way, then I'll actually have some free time to do other stuff. Another Deep Cavern Bat and another ping from the Viper. Hits the blast. I mean, that's fine. That is fine. So swing. Would you like to sack your treasure? No, you're just going to take it? Would you like to trade with a Viper? No, you're just going to take it? Alright, we'll put you at 6. End the turn. See, this is how you do red, guys. We don't need no ley line of restorations. None of that. None of that. Take action. Give him another treasure token. Arabella. Oh god. Arabella. Okay. Well. We're gonna put the counter on the Plunderer. And does he kill the Bivouac or does he kill the Viper? Either way, he's dead, right? Unless he's got something in his hand. Yeah. Good night. Do we keep this 1 lander on the play? I mean, I think we do. We only ever need to get to 2, right? We'll try it. We'll give it the old trial and error. Gods wants me to keep it. The dog apparently wants me to keep it. But does ℏ𝐻𝐿 want me to keep it? Figures. It figures. So if we top deck a land so that we can hold up Blooming Blast, then we'll just win. Right? I guess we can Tectonic Hazard. Get rid of his creature. It's not the worst ever. Ooh. That's the real deal. Alright, well, we're going to take a chance and play the Needlehead with our Pain Land against a Ley Line of Resonance. Because, like, That, my friends, is how the shuffler likes to shuffle. How's that term go? That's the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way the shuffler shuffles. Can that be a thing? Can we start saying that? Callous Sellsword. Okay, well, we need Callous Sellsword to die, right? Do we just hold up Blooming Blast? I think we do. Let's try attacking with our first strike. Do it. Do it. All you have to do is keep the field clear of creatures, and they lose. The problem is haste, right? But we've got 2 Blooming Blasts. Alright, we'll end the turn. The goal is to try to blow him out after he wastes a bunch of pump spells on his dude. They're coming, gods. They're coming. I'm so close. It sounded vaguely sexual. I apologize. Alright, he's got 3 cards in hand. We'll pass the damage. Just gonna take the 2. That's fine. What else we got? You got my turn. I mean, I'll just do this. Make you use up a spell. Okay. I mean, making you waste potential 8 damage is worth it, even if you do get a couple of bodies. I am not concerned, my friend. He's gonna be really mad. You ready, guys? Goodbye. And we have more life than you. I feel no regret, no remorse whatsoever for this individual. None. Guess we just swing, right? Could play another Razorkin Needlehead, but I think we have to hold up the instant speed removal. Just in case. I think his one shot here is to play the bird and basically hit it with 4 spells. Okay. 3 Generous Plunderers. I mean, we'll try it. We will try it. Go to 10. No, you go to 10. Don't tell me how to live my life, Arena. Alright, Mountain. Heartfire Hero. I think we just need it to die, right? Yeah, as much as I want to get out the Generous Plunderer, I think we just need to get rid of stuff. Hold up the shock to maybe kill another creature here. If we can just keep the creatures off the field, we'll be in pretty good shape. Do it. Nope. Good night. Can I get a scoop? You mono-red jackass. Alright, since he's got no creatures and no ley line, we're going to take this opportunity to get out a Plunderer. Depending on what he does here, maybe we go back to holding up instant speed removal. Just try to ride that one Plunderer to victory. Or maybe we play another Plunderer. Scamp. Scampies. Shrimp Scampi. Take action. He's got a slick shot. I think we just ruin his life. I think we just ruin his life. Give him a treasure. Take one. Swing. Would you like to sack your treasure, sir? No? You're gonna take two? Sounds like you. Sounds like greedy Monored to me. Let's see what he tries to play on the slick shot. We do not kill it unless it's going to buff up the defense, because he could respond with something that buffs up the defense and keeps this from doing the thing. Nope. You can get in for one, sir. Take action. Make another treasure. Play another plunderer. Smashy. Would you like to sacrifice your treasures, sir? No, you're gonna take 3 and then 2. Okie dokie. We do not play the Blooming Blast unless we're going to lose our opportunity to play our Blooming Blast. Zero remorse. You're only going to 9 today, buddy. Felonious Rage. Sure. Feel? How does that feel? I don't even know. I don't even know how that feels. I'm just gonna take it in the face. Good game. Good game. Alright, we'll keep 7. I don't really blame them, though. They almost have to do that, Socio. It's like Leyline decks have screwed things up so bad. Alright, he has to take the hazard. And we will get down an Arabella. Since if he removes it, it's legendary and we have a second copy in our hand. And I need Nectar. Give me that Nectar. Alright, cuts it down. Spirebluff Canal. We'll go Scamp. And Arabella. How much removal do you actually have, sir? How much removal do you actually have? Exactly. Exactly, Squirrel. I'm actually surprised they did it twice in a row. Like, Slick Shot is too good for standard Magic as it is. And then Leyline of Resonance is too good for standard magic as well. The fact that you have both of them in the same deck is kind of insane. Can we? We would hit for 4. He would kill it 2. 6, 7. I don't think we can do it. Go for the throw to solve him. That's fine. That. Get back the hazard. Oh, that feels so bad. That feels so bad. I guess I'll just do this. Pass the turn. Next turn we can attack with the Bivouac. And play Tectonic Hazard, I was gonna say, but now we can't. So we're in top deck mode. Yeah, I'm trying really hard to do something else with red that doesn't use Slick Shot or Leyline of Resonance. It's not easy. It is not easy. Does this count as red? Yes, it does. Let's see if he's dumb enough to block it with the slasher. Haha! We could trade Taii for the Preacher. But I don't know, it might be better to just keep it. Taii can do some pretty crazy shit. They lose half their life. Round it up. I mean, we go to 11. We go to 5. That's fine. That's fine. We gotta put a stop. Pass turn. X equals 3. So now he's going to take like 5 damage off this. Yeah. Sick. Oh, come on, man. Some straight up bullshit. Take 5 again. That's awesome. But we're so dead. So dumb. Oh, God. Alright, we're going to keep this. This looks fine. You've got 2 pain lands, but it's whatever. Pass the turn. Alright, we're going to start with a Plunderer. Instead of passing the turn. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Duress. Duress. I am under duress. Under distress. Alright, let's see what he's got. Deep Cavern Bat. What does he hit? That's the question. I'm gonna assume the Warfare. I think he's more scared of the Warfare. But Wakeen is pretty scary. Honestly. Under the right circumstances. Play the Needlehead. Swing in for 2 with the Plunderer. Here we go, baby. Freaking pain lands. He's thinking. He can't kill everything. Ooh. Okay. Okay. I'm okay with that. Red. We're going to put a stop on his upkeep. We're going to swing with the Plunderer. Just get in for some damage. And then on his upkeep, come on, pass priority. Alright. So now he'll take 3 from the Needlehead and only gain 2 from the Sheoldred. So we're kind of outpacing the Sheoldred. Which is kind of nuts. Honestly, kind of nuts. Alright, so if we tie Wakeen for 4, Plunderer will hit for 6 in the face. But if we wait and tie Wakeen for 4, he'll take 5 from the Razorkin Needlehead. We could also just Restless Bivouac. That's the thing we could do too. We're just going to attack with the Plunderer. Put a stop on the upkeep. End the turn. We're going to tap, tie Wakeen, spend 5. And then smack him for 6 damage when he draws. Okay. Okay. Deep Cavern Bat gonna try and... No! He's gonna try and block. Wild. Take action. See, his problem is he's not busting the treasures when I swing with the Plunderer. He'd actually be in okay shape if he was. He'd actually be in okay shape. Six. I mean, we just win, right? think we just win. No, I didn't get to do the thing. Screwed up. I screwed up. I screwed up. I mean, we still win, I think, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He'd be at 1. Yeah. We're gonna end the turn. And then we're gonna activate Wakeen for 6. And then we're gonna let him draw. And he's gonna die. Even the dog's excited. Oh, and our trigger resolves first. Alright. We're gonna keep this. Yeah, it's a 1-lander. But it's fine. We'll draw another one, right? We'll draw another one. It's fine. Play the Generous Plunderer. Get the Generous Plunderer cut down. We had to try, though, because the treasure would help us get out the rest of our hand. Let's play the Needlehead. Hey, what's up, Striker? Get another cut down out of there. Man, they've always got all the cut downs early, huh? I mean, good luck. I assume you take the Tectonic Hazard because you don't want me... You want me to waste spot removal that can kill bigger creatures on your bat. Yeah. We got one anyway. Don't even matter, bro. We're just gonna play Taii. See if he has any more removal. Because if we Tectonic Hazard while Taii's out, we get to draw a card, which is even better. More removal. Removal.deck, I guess. Removal.deck. We have all the Tectonic Hazards in the world. We just don't really need to play any of them. Let's just do this. See if we can actually get a creature to stick for once. You're 0-5 versus streamers you watch, but you're the only one who destroys me. Wait, you've won no games, Socio? Man, he just doesn't stop with the removal. That's 3 cutdowns, guys. 3 cutdowns. And a Virtue of Persistence and a bat. He's played 5 cards and all of them are removal. Play something. Slasher? Sure. Take a damage. You will take a damage, sir. Tectonic Hazard, baby. Get that life gain out of here. Take 2. Alright, we finally got him back down to 20. Yes, it's ping-a-ding-ding. Bloodletter? Bloodletter? Who plays Bloodletter? That's some biggity bullpucky. I think we attack. And then Blooming Blast him if he blocks. Fucking moron. You banana hammock. You absolute banana hammock. Take a treasure. It's fine. Lost in close matches. Nice. Sloth and hella good game. Another Bloodletter. Well, the Slasher's gonna swing for lethal next turn, right? See, if we could play the Mechanized Warfare and actually survive the turn cycle, we could kill everything with 2 Tectonic Hazards. But we can't. Slasher plus Bloodletter equals auto death. Dude, how is this guy so lucky? 3 cut downs, 2 Bloodletters. Like, come on. In the top 13 cards or something? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, we're dead. We can't kill everything. We can't kill everything. It's like the best we can do. What an absolutely ridiculous... Alright, we'll keep this. Sure. Plays a swamp. We will play an Inspiring Vantage and pass the turn and hold up Shock. Bandit's Talent. What a dick. Honestly, we're gonna get rid of the Shock. We will play the Needlehead. Start doing damage on draws. He's gonna have to use removal. That's fine. Doesn't really get to play much else. Maybe a 1-drop if he has a land. He does not. So we're gonna go Viper, Scamp, and then we just start laying down Warfares and hopefully something survives and we start doing a whole bunch of damage. Take a damage. We'll dump one of the Warfares. That's fine. That's fine. All of this is fine. Mechanized Warfare. Swing for 3. And now, every time he plays a spell that costs 3 or less, he gets shocked. Alright, Liliana takes out the Viper. That's fine. It's really a bummer that Tectonic Hazard doesn't hit Planeswalkers, though. Just get everything out there. Pass the turn. Tectonic Hazard's going bye-bye. Tired of using the thingy in YouTube. Wait, what thingy in YouTube?
Don't
play Taii. We'll do this and this. Oh, bad idea. Because we're going to do 2 damage to Preacher, kill it, and draw a card off Taii. Wait, we didn't? Oh, it's not actually equal to its toughness. 1 damage source has to do damage total equal to its toughness. You ready for this, guys? Five mana into Taii. Oh, good night. Good night. Oh, Taii. You're so beautiful. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.